The ice on Callisto had been frozen for millions of years. Nobody expected to find anything underneath it except more ice and rock. But the scanner readings showed something else. Something that should not be there. Taman Kang stood at the edge of the excavation site and smiled. He was 32 years old and considered himself the best xenoarchaeologist in the solar system. Other people might have called him arrogant. He called it confidence. Today would prove him right. We should wait for more equipment, Una Park said. She was older than Taman, 45, and careful. She had spent 20 years studying alien ruins, and she knew when something felt wrong. This felt wrong. Taman laughed. Wait, we've been waiting 3 months just to get permission to dig here. I'm not waiting another day. The structure below them was massive, black as midnight and smooth as glass. The excavation robots had cleared away most of the ice, revealing walls covered in strange symbols. The symbols glowed with a faint blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Do-Hyun Lee, the security officer, checked his weapons for the 3rd time. He was 28 and took his job seriously. I don't like this. My sensors keep glitching near that thing. Everything glitches on Callisto, Taman said. The magnetic field from Jupiter messes with electronics. You know that. Yoonji Choi was the youngest member of the team at 26. She worked with AI systems and computers. Right now, she was trying to make sense of the symbols on the structure. These aren't like anything in our database. The patterns are mathematical, but the base system is wrong. It's like they're counting in dimensions we don't use. Can you translate them? Taman asked, partially. I think they're warnings. The same sequence repeats over and over. Yoonji pointed at her screen. This part might mean danger or forbidden, and this part, I think it says, do not wake. Yuna touched Taman's arm. Maybe we should listen to the warning. Taman pulled away. Warnings are for tourists. We're scientists. He picked up his equipment pack. I'm going in. Anyone who wants to make history can follow me. The entrance to the structure opened when Taman approached. It simply slid open, smooth and silent. Inside, the air was warm. That made no sense. This place had been frozen for millions of years. It should be as cold as space itself. The hallway inside glowed with the same blue light as the symbols. Their boots made no sound on the floor. The silence was complete and heavy. My readings are going crazy, Yoonji said. She held up her scanner. Power signatures everywhere. This place is still active. Active? Do-Hyun gripped his rifle tighter. You're saying this thing still works? More than works. It's running. Like a computer that's been on for millions of years. They walked deeper into the structure. The hallway opened into a massive chamber. The ceiling was so high they couldn't see it. In the center of the room, floating 3 meters off the ground, was a sphere made of crystal. It was the size of a person's head and glowed from within. Taman stopped breathing. This was it. This was the discovery that would make him famous. The sphere began to project images into the air. Holographic pictures formed and dissolved. They showed stars and planets. They showed creatures that might have been aliens. They showed this very room millions of years ago with different beings standing where the humans now stood. It's beautiful, Yoonji whispered. Then the holograms changed. They showed symbols, thousands of them, flowing past too fast to read. Yoonji's AI system struggled to keep up. I'm getting fragments, she said. Commands, instructions, and more warnings. She went pale. Oh no, it's saying, do not touch. Do not mock. Do not awaken the sleeper. Sleeper? Yuna backed toward the door. What sleeper? The sphere pulsed brighter. More holograms appeared. These showed a civilization rising and falling. Great cities built and destroyed. The images moved faster, showing the same cycle again and again. Rise and fall, build and destroy, over and over. It's showing the history of whoever built this place, Taman said. He moved closer to the sphere. They're trying to communicate, or warn us, Yuna said. Taman, we should leave. Document what we found and come back with a full research team. And let someone else get the credit? Not a chance. Do-Hyun stepped between Taman and the sphere. Sir, as security officer, I'm recommending we withdraw. This feels like a trap. A trap that's been waiting millions of years? Don't be ridiculous, Taman pushed past him. The sphere showed new images now. Mathematical equations that hurt to look at. Yoonji's AI started to smoke and spark. She ripped the cables out before it could explode. Whatever this thing is doing, it's too much for our computers, she said. It's like trying to pour an ocean into a cup. Taman stood directly in front of the sphere. The light from it made his face look blue and strange. The warnings continued to scroll past, faster and faster. Superstitious nonsense, Taman said. An advanced civilization builds all this just to scare people away? I don't think so. I think they wanted to be found. They wanted someone brave enough to... He reached out and touched the sphere. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the sphere exploded with light so bright it burned. The light rushed out in all directions, passing through the walls like they weren't there. It spread across Callisto, across the space between moons, across the entire solar system. Taman screamed. The sphere had grabbed him, pulling him closer. Images poured into his mind. He saw the universe from the beginning. He saw civilizations rise and fall like waves on a beach. He saw the beings who built this place. They called themselves the Varathim. They had been testing other species for millions of years, and Taman had just failed the test. The sphere released him and he fell to the floor. The light faded, but something had changed. The air felt different. Reality felt different. What did you do? Yuna grabbed Taman by his collar. What did you do? Taman looked at his hands. They were shaking. I don't know. I saw everything, and they were angry, so angry. A voice filled the chamber. It spoke in every language at once, words overlapping until they made sense in the mind rather than the ears. You mocked the eternal vigil. You laughed at the trial. Now you will learn. Now all your kind will learn. The sphere went dark. The chamber went dark. Everything went dark. When the emergency lights came on, Do-hyun helped Taman to his feet. We need to get out of here now. They ran back through the hallway and out into the frozen landscape of Callisto. Above them, Jupiter hung in the sky, massive and beautiful, but something was wrong with it. The colors were swirling in patterns that had never existed before. Yunji's backup communicator crackled to life. This is Callisto Base. Is anyone there? We're getting reports from Earth. Something happened. Something hit the whole solar system. What did you find in that structure? Taman looked back at the black building rising from the ice. He had wanted to make history. He had wanted to be remembered forever. He had succeeded, but not in the way he imagined. The curse had begun. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks that felt like 3 years. Taman sat in a quarantine cell on Callisto Base. They had locked him and his team away the moment they returned from the structure. Nobody understood what had happened, but everyone knew it was bad. On Earth, Ji-won Song had not slept in 4 days. She was 52 and had served as chief science advisor for 10 years. She had dealt with many crises, none like this. Show me the reports again, she said to her assistant. The screens lit up with data from across the solar system. Every human colony was reporting the same impossible things. In New Shanghai, 3,000 people had stopped sleeping. They couldn't. Their bodies refused. They stayed awake hour after hour, growing more tired but unable to rest. On Mars Colony, wounds had stopped healing. A worker cut his hand on Monday. By Friday, the cut looked exactly the same. No better, no worse, just frozen in time. In the belt mining stations, technology was dying. Computers would work fine one moment, then crash when certain people came near. The pattern made no sense. How many affected? Ji-won asked. Last count, 47 million humans showing some kind of symptom. The number grows every hour. Min Ho-han walked into the command center. He was 48 and commanded Earth's defense fleet. He was a military man who believed in simple solutions. But there was no simple solution to this. My ships are falling apart, he said. Not all at once. Just little things. Life support glitches for 5 seconds. Weapon systems need constant repairs. It's like the universe is playing tricks on us. Because it is, Ji-won said. She pulled up a new file. This came from our xenoarchaeology database. We found references to the Varathim, the species that built the structure on Callisto. They existed over 50 million years ago. They were testing other intelligent species. They left relics like the one Taman found all over the galaxy. Testing them for what? To see if they deserved to survive. Minho went very still. And if they failed the test? Then this happens. They called it the Judgment, a curse designed to target a species' greatest strengths and turn them into weaknesses. On Mars, Salmon Bay was trying to help the people who couldn't heal. She was 34 and one of the best medical researchers in the colonies. She had studied every disease known to humanity. This was something completely different. It's not biological, she told her team. Their cells are healthy. Their immune systems work fine, but the body just won't repair damage. It's like someone turned off a switch. Can we turn it back on? I don't know. I don't even know where the switch is. A patient called out from one of the beds. Doctor, my arm. Selman ran over. The patient's arm was disappearing. Not being cut off or dissolving, just becoming less real. She could see through it like it was turning into a ghost. What's happening to me? The patient screamed. Selman had no answer. Back on Callisto, Taman finally got permission to access the base's computer systems. Una sat with him, still angry but knowing they needed to work together. I found something in the Varatham database, Taman said. His voice was quiet now. All his arrogance had burned away. The relics aren't just tests. They're more like judges. They watch a species and measure their worthiness. Worthiness for what? To join the greater universe. The Varatham believed most species were too dangerous or too stupid to be allowed to spread across the galaxy, so they left these relics. If a species found one and treated it with respect, nothing happened. But if they mocked it or dismissed it as primitive, then we get cursed, Una finished, because you laughed at it. I know. Taman's hands shook. I know what I did. But I still don't understand how to fix it. Yunji burst into the room. We have a bigger problem. Turn on the news. Any channel. They turned on the screen. Every news channel on every world was showing the same thing. Text had appeared on every computer, every phone, every screen that humans owned. The same message in every language. You laughed at the eternal vigil, now you will earn your survival. Then the message changed. It showed a countdown. 3 years. The curse would last 3 years. If humanity survived and proved itself worthy, it would end. If not, the message didn't say what would happen. It didn't need to. Do-Hyun contacted them from Earth. He had been sent back to help with security. It's getting worse. People are panicking. Some are blaming Taman. There's talk of executing him to appease the relic. That won't work, Una said. The Varatham don't care about individual punishment. They're judging all of us, then what do we do? Nobody had an answer. The curse continued to spread and evolve. In Tokyo, gravity stopped working correctly. People would float for a few seconds, then drop. Buildings swayed even though there was no earthquake. In London, 5,000 people suddenly developed telepathy. But not the useful kind. They could only broadcast their worst fears and anxieties directly into the minds of everyone nearby. The noise of all those screaming thoughts drove some people mad. In the asteroid belt, a mining crew found that they couldn't die. Their ship had an accident. The hull breached. They should have frozen instantly in space. Instead, they floated there, unable to breathe but unable to die, suffering forever until rescue came hours later. Jiwon called an emergency meeting of all Earth's leaders and the colony governors. They met virtually, their faces appearing on screens around the conference table. We need to make a decision, she said. Do we try to fight this? Find a way to break the curse? Or do we try to pass the test? Figure out what the Varatham want from us? How do we fight something we don't understand? The Mars governor asked. How do we pass a test when we don't know the rules? The Titan governor added. Minho stood up. I say we destroy the relic, blow it up. Maybe that ends the curse. Or maybe it makes things worse, Jiwon said. The Varatham had technology millions of years ahead of us. You think they didn't plan for someone trying to destroy their test? The arguing went on for hours. No conclusions were reached. Meanwhile, Selman made a discovery on Mars. She was studying the people who had stopped sleeping. Their brain scans showed something impossible. They're not tired, she told her assistant. Or rather, they are tired, but their minds are working faster. Processing more information. It's like the curse is forcing their brains to evolve. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet. She ran more tests. The people with broken healing weren't getting worse. They were just frozen at their current state. The people with gravity problems were learning to control it just a little. The telepaths were starting to organize their thoughts. Humanity was adapting. Not quickly, not easily. But adapting, Selman sent her findings to Jiwon. I think I understand part of it. The curse isn't just meant to kill us. It's meant to change us. Force us to become something different. Different how? I don't know. But I think the Varatham want to see if we can evolve under pressure. If we can take our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. Jiwon sat back in her chair. 3 years. They had 3 years to figure this out. 3 years to prove humanity deserved to survive. She looked at the countdown on her screen. It had already dropped by 3 weeks. The clock was ticking. On Callisto, Taman stood at the window of his cell, looking out at the black structure in the distance. The sphere inside was still active. He could feel it even from here. It was watching, judging, waiting. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry." The structure didn't answer, but deep inside it the sphere pulsed once. The judgment had only just begun. 6 months had passed since the curse began. Humanity was breaking apart. Hyun Woo Im stood on the bridge of his ship, the Liberator. He was 41 and had spent most of his life in the colonies. He had never trusted Earth's government. Now he hated them. "Earth did this to us," he told his crew. "Their arrogance. Their scientists who couldn't follow simple warnings. And now we all suffer." His followers cheered. Hyun Woo had started with just a few ships. Now he had 50. People from every colony who wanted to break away from Earth. They called themselves the Free Colonies. "What's our next move?" his second officer asked. "We take the fuel depot at Titan. Earth can't stop us without fuel. Neither can their cursed defense fleet." On Earth, Narayun was preaching to a crowd of 10,000. She was 38 and had found religion in the curse. Not old religion, new religion. "The Church of the Vigil. The Vorthim are gods," she said. Her voice carried across the crowd through speakers. "They judged us and found us lacking. The only way to survive is to submit, to obey, to worship." Her followers wore robes the same blue as the light from the sphere. They believed the curse was divine punishment. The only way to end it was complete surrender. "We must destroy all weapons," Nari continued. "All pride. All technology that makes us think we're better than we are. Only in humility will we find salvation." Not everyone agreed. Many people wanted to fight. Jae Shin was 23 and worked as an engineer on Titan Station. He had a different idea. If the curse was technology, maybe technology could fight it. He gathered a group of other young engineers and scientists. They called themselves the Builders. While others argued about religion or politics, the Builders tried to understand the curse. "Look at this." Jay showed his team a schematic. "The curse affects our technology, right? But not randomly. It responds to our intentions. When we try to use technology violently, it fails. When we try to use it constructively, it works better. So the curse can read our minds, or our hearts, or something. I think the Vorthim built something that judges not just our actions but our purposes. Can we trick it? Maybe. Or maybe we can work with it instead of against it." On Callisto, Yuna had made a breakthrough. She had spent 6 months studying every record they had about the Vorthim. What she found disturbed her. She called a conference with Jiwon and Minho. Taman joined via video link from his cell. The Vorathim weren't testing species to help them, Yuna explained. They were farming them. They wanted to find species that could overcome impossible odds because they needed something. Needed what? Jiwon asked. "We don't know. The records cut off 50 million years ago. But every species they tested either failed and went extinct, or succeeded and then disappeared. None of them still exist. Where did they go? That's the question. I think the Vorathim offered them something. A reward for passing the test, and whatever it was, it made those species leave normal space entirely." Taman spoke from his screen. "I saw something when I touched the sphere. The Vorathim were looking for species that could evolve, not gradually over millions of years, rapidly under pressure. They wanted to see if intelligence could force its own evolution." "Why?" Minho asked. "Because they failed to do it themselves. They reached a peak and couldn't go further. So they're looking for a species that can. And if we can't," Jiwon's voice was quiet, "then we're not useful to them, and I think they'll erase us to try again with the next species." Silence filled the room. Minho broke it. "Then we fight. We don't let some ancient aliens decide our fate." "With what?" Yuna asked. "Every weapon we build works worse than before. Our ships barely fly. We can't even coordinate properly because communications glitch constantly. Then we adapt, use what works, find new ways." But adaptation was harder than it sounded. The curse was getting worse. On Mars, Soman watched as entire city blocks experienced time distortions. People aged years in seconds, then snapped back to normal. Or they moved so slowly that hours passed while only minutes passed for them. "We're running out of time," she told her research team. "The curse is entering a new phase." She was right. On Earth, Jiwon received reports of new symptoms. Some people were developing strange abilities. One woman could see probability. She knew which choices would lead to which outcomes. It was driving her insane because she could see all the ways humanity might fail. A man in Beijing could feel the emotions of everyone in a kilometer radius. The constant flood of fear and anger was killing him. A child in Sao Paulo could manipulate quantum states with her mind. She had accidentally made her entire school disappear for 3 hours. The curse is pushing us to evolve, Jiwan said, but we're not ready. These powers are killing people. Taemin had his own problems. He had tried to kill himself 3 times. Each time something stopped him. The curse wouldn't let him die. I'm immortal, he told Yuna during one of her visits. The Relic wants me to watch, to witness what my arrogance caused. Then witness and learn, Yuna said. If you're going to live forever, make it count for something. Taemin looked at his hands. They hadn't aged a day since he touched the sphere. I've been studying the curse from the inside. I think I understand part of it now. It's not just technological or biological. It's connected to consciousness itself. What does that mean? It means the curse is alive. Sort of, it's watching us, learning from us, adjusting itself to make us grow in specific directions. Directions that lead where? I don't know yet. On Europa, another relic activated. This one had been buried under ice like the Callisto relic. When it woke up, it sent out a pulse that knocked out power across the inner solar system. When power returned, a new message appeared on every screen. Phase 2 begins. That night, every human alive had the same dream. They saw the rise and fall of the Vorathim civilization. They saw a species that had conquered their solar system, then their galaxy. They saw the Vorathim reach a point where they couldn't grow anymore. They were too perfect, too advanced. They had nowhere left to go, so they became desperate. They started testing other species, looking for something they had lost. The ability to change, to become something new. In the dream, the Vorathim spoke directly to humanity. We were arrogant. We thought we had reached the peak of existence. We were wrong. We failed. Do better. People woke up screaming. The message was clear. The Vorathim had cursed themselves. They had become so advanced that they couldn't evolve anymore. They were stuck, frozen in perfection, for 50 million years. And now they wanted humanity to succeed where they had failed. Hyunwoo's fleet attacked the Titan fuel depot 3 days after the dream. But something had changed. The crews on both sides hesitated. They had all seen the same thing. They all understood now that fighting each other helped no one. The attack failed, not because Earth's forces were stronger, but because Hyunwoo called it off at the last second. We're playing their game, he told his followers. Fighting each other is exactly what the curse wants: division, conflict, failure. But if fighting wasn't the answer, what was? Nari's church continued to grow. More people wanted simple answers. Worship seemed easier than adaptation. Jay's builders continued their work. They were learning to build technology that worked with the curse instead of against it. Ships that flew on intention as much as fuel. Computers that ran on human consciousness. It was slow progress, but it was progress. Jiwan pulled together representatives from every faction. Earth's government. The free colonies. The Church of the Vigil, the builders. Even Taemin joined from his cell. We have 2.5 years left, she said. We can spend it fighting each other, or we can work together. What's it going to be? The room exploded into argument. But slowly, over hours of debate, a pattern emerged. They all wanted the same thing: survival. The question was how. We need to pass 7 trials, Yuna said. She had translated more of the Vorathim messages. 7 tests of different aspects of sapient life: creativity, cooperation, sacrifice, logic, emotion, instinct, and transcendence. How do we know what the trials are? Someone asked. We don't. We have to figure it out as we go. Minho stood up. Then we start now. We form teams. We prepare. And when the trials begin, we face them together. For the first time in 6 months, humanity had a plan, but plans were fragile things, and the curse had barely begun. 1 year after the curse began, humanity was different. Not better, not worse, just different. Do-Yun had left his position as a simple security officer. Now he commanded a force of 10,000 people, whose job was to protect the research sites from extremists. Some people wanted to destroy all the relics. Others wanted to worship them. Do-Hyun's job was to keep both groups away. Movement on the north perimeter, one of his soldiers reported. Do-Hyun checked his scanner. A group of 50 people approached the Callisto structure. They wore the blue robes of Nari's church. They weren't armed, but they didn't need to be. Religious fervor was its own weapon. Let them get close, but not too close, Do-hyun ordered. Use non-lethal force only. The curse had made his job harder and easier at the same time. Weapons barely worked anymore. But neither side really wanted to kill. The shared dreams had shown everyone what was at stake. Violence felt pointless now. On Luna, Jiwan had set up a command center in the largest crater. Representatives from every human faction met here now. It wasn't peaceful. There were still arguments and fights, but at least they were talking. Yoonji worked in the technical section. She had become one of the most important people in the solar system without meaning to. Her ability to communicate with the cursed technology made her invaluable. "I think I understand how it works now," she told Jiwan during a briefing. "The curse isn't blocking our technology. It's upgrading it, making it respond to human consciousness instead of just mechanical inputs. That sounds good. Why is everyone's equipment still breaking? Because we're thinking in the old way. We're trying to force technology to obey us. The new way is cooperation. You have to work with your equipment. Understand it, almost like it's alive." Jiwan rubbed her temples. "So now we have to befriend our computers?" Sort of, yes, it sounded insane. But insane was normal now. Salmon had moved from Mars to Luna to centralize the medical research. She had teams working on every aspect of the curse's effects. The results were surprising. People who can't sleep are becoming guardians, she reported. They watch over others. They notice dangers that normal people miss. They're turning their curse into protection. What about the ones who can't heal? They're more careful. They avoid risks, but more than that, they're teaching others to be careful too. Humanity was reckless before. Maybe we needed to learn caution. And the telepaths? Solomon smiled. They're forming communication networks. Instant information sharing. No lies possible. It's creating the most honest society we've ever had. What about the ones with dangerous powers? The probability viewer? The quantum manipulator? Soman's smile faded. We're losing some. Their minds can't handle the changes, but others are learning control. It's slow. It's painful, but it's happening. Jay and his builders had moved to Luna too. They were working on something ambitious. A hybrid ship that combined old technology with curse-enhanced systems. A vessel that flew on both fuel and human intention. The key is balance, Jay explained to his team. Too much old tech and it breaks. Too much new tech and we can't control it. But if we find the sweet spot, they tested the ship. It lifted off smoothly, responding to the pilot's thoughts as much as the controls. For the first time in a year, something felt like progress. Taemin was no longer in a cell. Ji-won had decided that keeping him locked up served no purpose. Now he worked with Yuna, studying the Varatham records day and night. I found something, Taemin said during one of their research sessions. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, or rather from the fact that he no longer needed sleep. The curse had taken that from him. What did you find? The curse is also a gift. Every species the Varatham tested received the same thing. A forcing function, something that made them evolve or die. That's just the curse we already knew about. No, look closer. Every successful species didn't just survive. They transcended. They became something beyond their original form. The curse was a cocoon, painful and confining but necessary for metamorphosis. Yuna stared at the data. So we're not being punished. We're being transformed. Yes. But the transformation will kill us if we fight it. We have to accept it. Embrace it. Become something new. What kind of something? That's up to us. The Varatham provide the pressure. We provide the direction. This information spread quickly through Luna Command. It changed everything. People stopped seeing the curse as an enemy. It was more like a harsh teacher. One that would kill you if you failed the lesson, but a teacher nonetheless. Yunwoo's free colonies had rejoined the main human government. Not because they trusted Earth, but because division seemed pointless now. His ships joined Minho's defense fleet. Minho had adapted too. His fleet no longer focused on weapons. Instead, they became explorers and protectors. They mapped the changes happening across the solar system and helped evacuate areas where the curse effects were too strong. We're not fighting the curse anymore, Minho told his officers. We're learning to live with it. Work with it. Maybe even benefit from it. On Earth, Nari's church had split into two factions. One group still believed in complete submission, but a larger group had embraced a new interpretation. They called it active faith. The idea that worship meant working to become worthy, not just begging for mercy. Nari herself had changed. She no longer preached surrender. Instead, she talked about transformation through trial. The Vorathim are not gods, she told her followers. They're teachers. Harsh ones, but teachers nonetheless. And the lesson is clear: evolve or die. Not everyone accepted this new philosophy. Some people had given up entirely. Suicide rates had skyrocketed in the first 6 months. But then something strange happened. The curse started preventing suicides. Not all of them, but enough that a pattern emerged. It won't let us quit, Soman reported. The curse needs us alive to complete whatever transformation it's forcing. It will keep us alive even if we don't want to be. This was both horrifying and hopeful. Horrifying because it meant no escape. Hopeful because it meant the Vorathim believed humanity could succeed. The research teams made another discovery. The people developing strange abilities weren't random. The curse was responding to need. A colony needed better communication, so telepaths emerged there. A station needed better engineering, so reality-manipulating builders appeared. It's intelligent, Yunji said. The curse is reading what we need and providing it. But in the most difficult way possible. Why difficult? Because easy gifts make us weak. Hard-won abilities make us strong. 18 months into the curse, the first major breakthrough happened. A group of telepaths on Titan managed to link their minds fully. Not just sharing thoughts, but merging consciousness while maintaining individuality. They became a group mind, thinking as one but remaining themselves. They called themselves the Unity. They weren't the only ones. Similar groups formed on Mars, Earth, and the Belt stations. Humanity was learning to cooperate on a level that had never been possible before. But cooperation brought new problems. Some humans liked their privacy. They didn't want to join group minds. Arguments broke out about whether joining should be mandatory for survival. We're fracturing again, Do-hyun reported. Different this time. Not about politics or religion, about what it means to be human. Ji-won called another council meeting. This time, she invited representatives from the Unity groups. We're not trying to replace individual humanity, one of the Unity speakers said. Their voice was strange, like many people talking in perfect synchronization. We're just one option, one path forward. But will you force others to join? Someone asked. No. Evolution requires diversity, different solutions for different problems. We're just one solution. This calmed some fears, but not all. Taemin had his own revelation. Studying the Vorathim records, he found references to other species that had faced the trials. Most failed. A few succeeded. None succeeded by following a single path. The successful species were the ones that fractured and then came back together, he explained to Yuna. They tried everything. Individual effort. Group minds, technology, spirituality, biology, they threw everything at the problem. And in the end, they synthesized all those approaches into something new. So our division is actually helpful? As long as we remember we're all still human. All still working toward the same goal. 2 years into the curse, humanity had adapted in ways no one could have predicted. There were people who didn't sleep, standing watch over civilization. There were telepaths forming instant communication networks. There were people who could see probability, guiding decisions. There were people who could manipulate matter with their minds, building impossible structures. But there were also normal people. People the curse hadn't touched. They were just as important. They reminded everyone what humanity had been, what they were fighting to preserve even as they changed. Ji-won stood in Luna Command and looked at the countdown. 1 year left. 1 year to pass the trials and prove humanity worthy. We're ready, she said, or as ready as we'll ever be. The curse had broken humanity. But humanity had refused to stay broken. They had adapted, evolved, and prepared. Now came the real test. The trials began without warning. The relics on Callisto and Europa activated simultaneously. The structures rose higher from the ice, growing until they touched the sky. 7 doorways opened in each structure. Each doorway glowed with a different color: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. 7 trials, 7 tests, 7 chances to prove humanity worthy. A message appeared on every screen in the solar system. Enter, prove, transcend. Yuna stood before the red doorway on Callisto. She led a team of 50 people. The red doorway was labeled in every language, "Sacrifice, this is it," she said. Whatever's in there, we face it together. They stepped through, the world changed. They stood in a vast chamber. In the center was a machine. On one side of the machine was a cure. The glowing liquid would end the curse for 1 million people. On the other side was a different cure. This one would end the curse for 100 million people. But there was a price. To get the small cure, 1 person had to die. To get the large cure, 1,000 people had to die. It's a choice, Una said quietly. Save fewer people with less cost or save more people with greater cost. One of her team members stepped forward. I'll die for the million. Another person grabbed his arm. Wait, if 1,000 of us die, we save 100 times more people. The math is clear. But can we ask 1,000 people to die? Arguments broke out. Some said save fewer with honor. Others said save more regardless of cost. The team fractured into groups, each certain they were right. Una watched them fight. Then she understood. This isn't about the choice. It's about sacrifice. The trial doesn't care which cure we choose. It cares if we're willing to make the choice at all. She stepped up to the machine. I choose both. You can't, the machine said. Its voice was cold and mechanical. The rules are clear. Then I changed the rules. You want sacrifice? Here it is. I sacrifice my right to an easy answer. I sacrifice my certainty. I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if I made the right choice. But I choose to save as many as possible, even if it costs greatly. She pressed the button for the large cure. Then she turned to her team. I need 1,000 volunteers. Every person raised their hand. All 50 of them. That's not 1,000, the machine said. Then we wait here until more people come. We'll recruit them. Explain the situation. Let them choose freely. That's real sacrifice. Not forcing death, but accepting it willingly for others. The red doorway pulsed. The trial was complete. Not because Una made the right choice, but because she refused to make an easy one. On Europa, Yunji faced the violet doorway. Transcendence, it was labeled. She led a team of enhanced humans. People who had developed powers from the curse. The probability viewer, the quantum manipulator, the telepaths. Inside they found a chamber filled with light. In the center floated a crystal similar to the original sphere that started the curse. Touch me, it said. Become more than human. Become pure consciousness. Leave behind your physical form and ascend. It was tempting. Yunji could feel the pull. No more pain, no more physical limits. Just pure thought, pure existence. What happens to our bodies? She asked. They dissolve. You won't need them anymore. One of the telepaths stepped forward. I'll do it. This is what we've been moving toward. Evolution. Transcendence. But the quantum manipulator held her back. Wait, if we all transcend, who helps the humans still trapped in physical form? Who guides them? They can follow later. But what if they need us now? What if transcendence is just another way to abandon those who aren't ready? Yunji understood. The trial isn't asking if we can transcend. It's asking if we should. And the answer is not yet. We transcend together or not at all. The crystal pulsed angrily. You refuse evolution? No, we refuse to leave our people behind. True transcendence includes everyone, not just the ready ones. The violet doorway pulsed. Another trial complete. On Luna, Ji-won faced the green doorway. Cooperation, it said. She entered with Hyunwoo. Their teams had to work together. Former enemies, now allies, but still distrustful. Inside, they found a maze. The only way out was through. But the maze changed constantly. What worked for one person made things worse for another. We need to move together, Ji-won said. How? Every time I go forward, the walls shift and trap you. They tried everything, taking turns, moving separately. Nothing worked. The maze punished individual effort. Finally, Hyunwoo had an idea. What if we think of ourselves as one person? Not separate teams, but one team? They linked hands. Telepaths on both sides connected their minds. For a moment, Ji-won felt what Hyunwoo felt. She understood his anger at Earth, his fear of losing independence, his pride in the colonies. And he felt her burden of leadership, her fear of failing humanity, her desperate hope that cooperation could save them. Understanding flowed both ways. The maze stopped shifting. A path opened. Cooperation isn't just working together, Ji-won said. It's understanding each other. Really understanding. The green doorway pulsed. Trial complete. Do-hyun and Jae faced the yellow and orange doorways. Logic and instinct. Opposite trials that somehow had to work together. In the yellow doorway, pure logic. Math problems that built on each other. Each solution unlocked the next problem. Cold, clear, rational. Jay's team of builders excelled here. They solved equation after equation, building toward a final proof that would unlock the door. But the final proof was impossible. It required information they didn't have. No amount of logic could solve it. We need intuition, Jay realized. Logic alone isn't enough. In the orange doorway, pure instinct. No time to think. React or die. Do-Yoon's security team navigated by gut feeling, trusting themselves without understanding why, but eventually instinct failed. A trap that looked safe but wasn't. A path that felt right but led to death. We need logic, Do-Yoon realized. Instinct alone isn't enough. The two teams combined. Logic to analyze. Instinct to guide. Together, they solved both trials. The yellow and orange doorways pulsed together. Trials complete, that left two trials. Emotion and creativity. The hardest ones, Nari faced the blue doorway. Emotion, it said. Inside, she found a room of memories. Every person who had died from the curse. Their faces, their names, their stories. Feel them, the trial demanded. Feel all of them. The grief was overwhelming. Millions of lives cut short. Billions of moments of suffering. The weight of it crushed Nari to her knees. I can't, she gasped. It's too much, then you fail. Emotion is not just joy and love. It's pain and grief. Can you bear it? Nari wanted to shut down, close her heart, protect herself. But that would mean failing everyone. Instead, she opened wider. She felt everything. The pain of parents losing children, children losing parents. The fear, the anger, the despair, but also the hope. The moments of kindness in crisis, the sacrifices made, the love that persisted even in darkness. Emotion isn't just feeling, Nari said through tears. It's feeling everything and choosing to keep going anyway. The blue doorway pulsed. Trial complete. Minho faced the indigo doorway alone. Creativity, it said. Inside, he found a blank canvas. Literally. A white room with nothing in it. Create something, the trial demanded. Something new, something that has never existed before. Minho wasn't an artist. He was a military commander. He built nothing. He only defended what others built. I don't know how, he said. Then fail. He stood there for hours, days maybe. Time didn't work right in the trial. He tried to imagine something new. But everything he thought of had been done before. Finally, he understood. I can't create something new alone. Creation requires inspiration, and I'm inspired by others. He called for help. Artists, engineers, dreamers. They entered the trial together. The trial is creativity, one artist said. It should be singular. No, Minho said. Human creativity is always collaborative. We build on what came before. We inspire each other. No human creates in a vacuum. Together they built something impossible, a structure that was part building, part sculpture, part living thing. It changed as they worked on it, responding to their intentions. It was beautiful and strange and completely new. The indigo doorway pulsed. Trial complete, all 7 trials finished. The doorways glowed brighter. The relics hummed with power. But something was wrong. The trials weren't combining. They stood separate, 7 individual accomplishments with no connection. Tae-min, watching from Luna Command, understood. We're missing something. The trials aren't meant to stand alone. We have to synthesize them. Combine all 7 into something greater. Jiwon called everyone together. Representatives from each trial gathered on Luna. 50 people who had faced impossible choices and succeeded. We need to show the Varatham that humanity isn't just 7 separate virtues, she said. We're all of them working together, but how? How do you combine sacrifice and transcendence? Logic and instinct? Emotion and creativity? Yuna had an idea. What if we build something? A monument. A structure that incorporates all 7 trials. Shows that humanity has learned every lesson. What kind of structure? Someone asked. I don't know yet. That's where creativity comes in. They work together. All 50 of them. All of humanity watching and contributing ideas. They used logic to plan it, instinct to guide it, emotion to inspire it, cooperation to build it, sacrifice to fuel it, transcendence to envision it, creativity to make it real. Days passed. The structure began to take shape on Luna. It was like nothing that had ever existed. Part physical, part quantum, it existed and multiple 3 months remained. The structure on Luna was nearly complete. They called it the Monument. It stood 3 kilometers high, visible from Earth. It was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. Parts of it existed in dimensions humans couldn't fully perceive. It sang with frequencies that resonated in the soul rather than the ear. But it wasn't finished. And a problem had emerged. Yunji stood before the council with dire news. The monument needs more power than we can give it. We've poured in everything. Nuclear reactors, solar collectors, even the enhanced humans using their abilities. It's not enough. How much more power? Jiwon asked. A lot. Maybe the energy of a sun. Maybe more. The monument is trying to bridge physical space and transcendent space simultaneously. That requires power we don't have. Can we scale it down? Someone suggested. Then it won't work. The Vorthim set the parameters. The monument has to be big enough, powerful enough, complex enough to prove we've truly transcended our original limits. Minho studied the readouts. We have ships. Thousands of them. What if we use their reactors? Already calculated. Even if every ship in the solar system fed power to the monument, it's still not enough. Then what do we do? Nobody had an answer. Taemin worked in his private lab, studying the problem from every angle. He had become obsessed with the monument. It was his fault the curse happened. The monument would be his redemption. He wouldn't let it fail. Late at night, he made a discovery. The enhanced humans. The people with powers. They're not just using energy. They're converting consciousness into energy. Thought into power. Yuna found him 3 days later, still awake, still working. You look terrible. I don't need sleep anymore, remember? The curse made sure of that. He showed her his calculations. Look at this. What if we use human consciousness as the power source? Not just the enhanced humans. Everyone. All of humanity thinking together, focusing together, willing the monument to work. That sounds impossible. So did everything else we've done. Taemin's eyes were bright with fever and determination. The unity groups have proven that human consciousness can link. What if we scale it up? Link all of humanity for just a few seconds. Channel that mental energy into the monument. The strain could kill people. Linking 2 minds is hard. Linking billions? I know. But it might be the only way. The idea spread through the command council. Arguments erupted immediately. Some said it was too dangerous. Others said they had no choice. The countdown continued its relentless march toward zero. Jay and his builders studied the technical requirements. We can build the interface. The telepaths can handle the mental linking. But Taemin is right about the strain. We'll lose people, maybe millions of people. How many millions? Jiwon asked quietly. Impossible to say. Depends on how strong the link needs to be and how long we maintain it. Could be a few thousand, could be 100 million. The room fell silent. Someone added her medical analysis. The young and the old will be most at risk. Also anyone with pre-existing neurological conditions. We can identify the most vulnerable and exclude them from the link. Then we're asking the healthy to die so the weak survive? Someone objected. No, Nari said. She had been quiet until now. We're asking for volunteers. People who understand the risk and choose to help anyway. That's sacrifice. That's what we learned from the trials. Hyunwoo stood up. My people will volunteer. The colonies have always taken the risks while Earth stayed safe. Let us do this. This isn't about Earth versus colonies, Jiwon said sharply. This is about humanity. All of us. Then all of us volunteer together. Do-hyun had been running security calculations. We have another problem. Not everyone wants the monument to succeed. Some groups believe failure is better than changing what we are. They might try to sabotage the linking process. Who? Minho demanded. Purists. People who think the curse has already changed us too much. They want humanity to fail and go extinct rather than become something new. How many? Maybe 5 million across all the colonies. Maybe more. They're organized and they're determined. The council debated for hours. How do you convince people to let humanity evolve? How do you protect a process that requires everyone's cooperation? Finally, Taemin spoke again. I'll be the anchor. The linking requires a central consciousness to channel all the others. Someone immortal who can bear the strain without dying. That's me. That's why the curse made me immortal. For this moment. You'll be experiencing billions of minds at once, Yunji warned. That could destroy your sanity. Then it does. I caused this curse. I'll pay whatever price is needed to end it. 6 weeks remained. Humanity prepared for the largest coordinated effort in its history. The telepaths built a network that spanned the solar system. Every human alive would be connected to it. Scientists explained the process in simple terms. On the appointed day, everyone would close their eyes. The telepaths would initiate the link. For 30 seconds, every human mind would join together, focusing on a single thought. Let it work. Let the monument succeed. Let humanity transcend. 30 seconds, people said. We can do anything for 30 seconds, but not everyone agreed to participate. The purists, as they called themselves, refused. They sabotaged linking nodes on Mars and in the belt stations. They preached that humanity should die as humans rather than become something else. Do-hyun's forces hunted them down, not to kill them, but to protect the equipment. The chase went on for weeks. Every day brought new sabotage attempts. Every day, Do-hyun's people stopped them. Barely. Soman organized medical teams to handle the casualties. She knew people would die during the linking. She wanted to save as many as possible afterward. Hospitals prepared, supplies stockpiled. Everyone did what they could. 2 weeks remained. The monument was ready. The network was ready. Humanity was ready, or as ready as they could be. Taemin prepared for his role as anchor. He meditated, trying to strengthen his mind for what was coming. Yuna visited him the night before. "Are you scared?" she asked, terrified. "I'll be experiencing all of humanity at once. Every thought, every emotion, every fear and hope. It might break me. Then why do it? Because it's right. Because I started this. Because someone has to." He smiled weakly. "And because maybe, just maybe, I'll understand what it really means to be human. I've lived for 2 years without sleeping, without aging, without really feeling alive. Maybe this will remind me. Or kill you. I can't die, remember? The curse won't let me. But maybe it will let me suffer. And maybe that's what I deserve." Yuna took his hand. "You deserve redemption. We all do." The final week was chaos. More sabotage attempts. More arguments. Some people changed their minds and refused to participate. Others who had refused decided to join. The numbers fluctuated daily. Jiwon barely slept. She coordinated everything from Luna Command. Millions of details. Billions of people. One chance to get it right. Minho's fleet guarded the monument. Ships in orbit around Luna, weapons trained outward, not to attack, just to watch. To protect. To make sure nothing disturbed the ceremony, Nari led prayers. Not to the Vorathim, not to any god, just prayers of hope. That humanity would survive, that the sacrifice would be worth it, that their children would have a future. 48 hours remained. The Vorathim relics pulsed with increasing intensity. They knew something was coming. The ancient intelligence watched and waited. 24 hours remained. Final preparations complete. The linking would happen at midnight Universal Coordinated Time. Every human would know when. The telepaths would broadcast a signal that couldn't be ignored. 12 hours remained. People said goodbye to loved ones. Just in case. Some wrote letters. Some recorded videos. Some simply held each other and waited. 6 hours remained. Taemin took his position at the monument's core, a chamber deep inside where all the energy would flow through him. He was alone. This part he had to do alone. 3 hours remained. The telepaths began the preliminary linking, testing the network, making sure every node worked, every connection held. The mental noise was already overwhelming. 1 hour remained. Humanity held its breath. 30 minutes remained. Do-hyun reported all security positions secure. No sabotage detected. The purists had either given up or were waiting for a different moment to strike. 10 minutes remained. Jiwon addressed humanity one last time. "We don't know what will happen. We don't know who will survive. But we know this, we tried. We worked together. We refused to accept extinction. Whatever happens next, we face it together." 5 minutes remained. People closed their eyes. The telepaths activated the network. The linking began. Gentle at first, a whisper in the mind. Then stronger, thoughts bleeding into other thoughts. Emotions mixing. 1 minute remained. Taemin felt the first minds connect to him. Then hundreds, then thousands. The pressure built like a dam about to break. 30 seconds remained. The monument began to glow. Power flowed into it from millions of sources. Human consciousness converted to pure energy. The structure sang. 10 seconds. The link went fully active. Billions of minds joined. Taman screamed. The weight of humanity crashed into him all at once. Every thought, every feeling, every dream and nightmare, 5 seconds. The monument blazed like a second sun. Power levels climbed beyond any. The monument shimmered in the darkness of space. It had become something beautiful and terrible. A structure that existed in all dimensions at once. Physical and transcendent. Real and impossible. Humanity counted its dead. 47 million people had not survived the linking. 47 million minds that burned out when the connection formed. The hospitals overflowed with survivors who might never fully recover. But humanity had survived. And the monument stood as proof of what they had accomplished. Taman remained in the core chamber unconscious. Yunji found him 3 days later. He was alive but empty. His mind had touched billions of other minds. The experience had hollowed him out. Will he wake up? Yuna asked. I don't know. He experienced more consciousness than any being should. He might be lost inside himself. They moved him to a medical facility on Luna. His body didn't age, didn't need food or water. The curse kept him alive even now. But he didn't wake. On Earth, Jiwan addressed what remained of humanity's government. We completed the monument. We passed the trials. Now we wait for the Vorathim's response. What if they decide it wasn't enough? Someone asked. Then we tried our best. That's all anyone can ask. The Vorathim relics pulsed with increasing frequency. The structures on Callisto and Europa grew larger, reaching toward space. They were building something, or preparing for something. 7 days after the linking, the relics spoke again. This time, not through screens, but directly into every human mind. Come to the monument. Representatives of your species, we will speak. Jiwan organized the delegation, 50 people. The same 50 who had completed the 7 trials. Yuna Yunji Minho Dohyun Jai Somin Nari Hyunwoo. And Taman, still unconscious, brought on a medical transport. They gathered at the monument's base. The structure towered above them, singing its strange song. Then the Vorathim appeared, not physically. They had no bodies anymore, but consciousness made manifest. Energy shaped into forms that human minds could perceive. They looked like giants made of light, ancient and powerful. You have succeeded, they said. Their voice was the voice from the trials, but softer now, almost sad. You have created what we could not. A bridge between states of being. A way to transcend without abandoning physicality. Why did you curse us? Yuna asked. Why make us suffer? Because suffering forces growth. We learned this too late for ourselves. We became perfect without struggle. We reached the peak of evolution through slow, gentle progress, and when we arrived at the peak, we had nowhere left to go. We were trapped in our own perfection. The light beings shimmered. Memories poured out of them. Humanity saw the Vorathim civilization at its height. Beautiful cities. Vast knowledge. They had conquered disease, death, scarcity. They had everything and they had nothing. No challenges, no growth, no purpose. We became desperate, the Vorathim continued. We tried to evolve further. We shed our physical forms and became pure consciousness. We thought this was transcendence. But it was just a different trap. We could think but not act. We could observe but not participate. We could exist but not live. For 50 million years we have been ghosts, watching younger species rise and fall, testing them, hoping one would succeed where we failed. Jiwan stepped forward. And we succeeded? We built your bridge? No, you built something better. We envisioned a bridge from physical to transcendent. One direction, one journey. But your monument is different. It allows movement in both directions. Physical beings can touch transcendence without abandoning their bodies. Transcendent beings can touch physicality without being trapped in it. It is what we should have built but lacked the imagination to conceive. The Vorathim's light dimmed. You laughed at our relic. Your scientist mocked the eternal vigil. We were angry. We cursed your species. But the curse was really a mirror. We cursed you with our own failure. Forced you to face what we faced. Hoped you would do better than we did. And you did. You found a third path. Not just physical. Not just transcendent. Both. Together. Balanced. Minho asked the question everyone was thinking. What happens now? Now you choose. We offer you a reward. The reward we offered every species that passed our trials. The Vorathim raised their light hands. 2 choices appeared in the air, glowing with power. Choice 1. Join us in transcendence. Shed your physical forms. Become pure consciousness. We are lonely. We have been alone for so long. Join us. We will teach you everything we know. You will never age, never die, never suffer physical pain. The image showed it. Humanity ascending, becoming beings of light and thought, immortal, powerful, perfect. Choice 2. Remain physical. We will remove the curse. You can return to what you were before, mortal, limited but alive in the way you understand. We will leave your solar system and never return. You will be free to grow at your own pace. The image showed this too. Humanity returning to normal. The strange abilities fading. Life continuing as it had before the curse. These are your options. Choose. The delegation looked at each other. Some wanted transcendence, the power, the knowledge, the immortality. Others wanted normalcy, to be human again in the simple way they once were. But Yunji shook her head. No, these are false choices. You're doing it again, giving us the same choice you faced, transcendence or physicality. But we already proved there's a third option. The Vorathim's light flickered with surprise. There is no third option. We have offered everything we can. You've offered what you understand, but you're stuck in binary thinking. That's why you failed. Yunji pointed at the monument. We built this. A bridge between states. We're not choosing one or the other. We're choosing both, Yuna joined her. We keep the monument. We keep our physical forms, but we also keep access to transcendent consciousness. Some humans will cross fully to your side. Some will stay fully physical. Most will live in between, moving back and forth as needed. That is not how transcendence works, the Varathim said. Then we'll make it work differently. Jay stepped forward. You're thinking like the old Varathim, rigid, absolute. But you said we succeeded where you failed. Trust us. Let us show you the new way. The Varathim were silent for a long moment. Their light pulsed with what might have been confusion or hope. You refuse both rewards? You want to forge your own path? Yes, Jawan said. You gave us the curse to force evolution. Well, we evolved. We're not the same species we were 3 years ago. We're not fully physical anymore. But we're not ready to abandon physicality either. We're something new, something in between. And we want you to join us, Nari added. Not as teachers or gods, as friends, partners. You've been alone for 50 million years. Come back. Use our monument to touch physicality again, not permanently. Just visits. Remember what it's like to feel sunlight, to eat, to laugh. The Vorathim's light blazed brighter. That is possible. The monument works both ways. That's the whole point. For the first time in 50 million years, the Vorathim felt something they had forgotten. Choice. Real choice. Not between two absolute states, but between infinite possibilities. We must discuss this, they said. Give us time. They faded from view. The delegation waited. In the medical facility, Taemin's eyes opened. He gasped, sucking in air like a drowning man. Soman rushed to his side. Easy. You've been unconscious for 10 days. 10 days? Taemin's voice was hoarse. It felt like forever. I was everyone. I was humanity. He trailed off, unable to find words. You were the anchor. You saved us. Did we win? Did the monument work? Yes. And now the Vorathim are deciding what comes next. Taemin sat up. His body felt strange, different. The curse had changed him even more than before. He could feel connections to other minds. Not intrusive like during the linking. Just present, like knowing someone was in the next room. I need to get to the monument, he said. You're not strong enough. I caused this. I need to see it through. They brought him to the monument just as the Vorathim returned. The light being saw him and paused. You are the one who mocked us, they said. The one who began this. Yes. Taemin stood as straight as he could. I was arrogant, stupid. I laughed at something I didn't understand. And millions died because of it. Do you regret your choice? Every second of every day, I will regret it until the universe ends. But I can't change the past. I can only try to make the future better. The Varathim's light softened. We too have regrets. 50 million years of them. Perhaps that is something we share. They turned to address all of humanity. Their voice boomed across the solar system into every mind. We accept your third path. We will not force you to choose between physicality and transcendence. Instead, we offer partnership. The monument will remain. It will be a bridge for all species who need it. Not just humanity. Not just Vorathim, any species struggling with the same choice we faced. We will return to physical form occasionally. Experience life again, and you will visit transcendent space when you need wisdom or perspective. We will teach each other, learn from each other, grow together. The curse is lifted. The changes it made will remain for those who want them. Those who wish to return to full physicality may do so. Those who wish to transcend fully may do so. And those who wish to walk between worlds as you have chosen may do that as well. The relics began to fade, not dying, just becoming dormant.